Today, I wanted to talk to you about corrupted dungeon ratting in Albion Online. What does that mean? What is it? Ratting in a corrupted dungeon means that you clear the corrupted dungeon, you do not flag up for PvP, you just kill the mobs, you kill the bosses, you collect the treasure, and you move on to the next dungeon, and if you get invaded, you avoid your attacker and break crystals so that you can banish the invader and continue your PvE adventure. Now, I have a few builds. I have a budget version, a faster version, and then a really fast version, but it's kind of annoying. I'll talk about that in a little bit. That will allow you to speed run corrupted dungeons, super fast clears, on the cheap, easily budgetable. You can do this in Slayer, you can do this in Stalker. It's that cheap, it's that easy. So let's get right into it. I'm going to show you the main build first. The good one that I recommend, that's a little bit more expensive, but it's still a budget build, and it is a Cursed Staff build. Now, let me explain what all the pieces are, the skills and everything, and why I have chosen these pieces. So, for your weapon, you need at least a Tier 6 Cursed Staff. The reason why we use Tier 6... Hold on, I have the wrong one. The reason we use Tier 6 is so that you can not only use Cursed Tar, which unlocks at Tier 5, but mainly so you can use Cursed Beam, which pairs super nicely with Cursed Tar. Without Tier 6, this is not available to use, and this is your main AoE to clear mobs, but it is also a huge damage laser on boss monsters during certain phases. For your helmet, you can use any cloth helmet, honestly, but Mage Cowl seems to always be the cheapest one. Now, here's the cool thing about Mage Cowl. You pop this poison proc on bosses, on single target tanky beefy mobs, but if someone invades you, you switch over to the force field and you can knock your attacker away as you escape, okay? Also, for the Cursed Staff, if you are invaded, I recommend switching to Desecrate to hold your attacker down as you run away. You can also throw Cursed Sickles so that they try and waste time dodging it, which will make them not walk directly towards you. There you go. Okay, so for your armor, the Cleric Robe is my ideal choice for a few reasons, okay? The first reason is it's one of the cheapest robes ever for 4.1, but also, the Everlasting Spirit, if you are in the middle of fighting several tanky mobs, you push your R button to activate the shield, and you can freely channel your Cursed Beam while standing in several AoE attacks and not get downed by the mobs. It's that simple. Also, this is a great counter if your attacker does any big bursty damage thing. You just pop this early on in the fight, you'll absorb a bunch of hits, or delay your attacker from hitting you as you make your escape. For the boots, the soldier boots are great because for just general dungeon clearing, you'll be using this rejuvenating sprint on the times that you're in a boss fight, and you accidentally stand in an attack, or you get hit, or you lag, or you flinch, or you don't move out of the way in time, which will happen out of hundreds of runs. Don't pretend it won't. You're not a super god gamer, okay? This saves your butt. This will give you an extra little chunk of health so that you don't immediately die and have to reset the fight. But when you are invaded, you just switch to Wanderlust, and this lets you run the hell away so that you can escape your attacker and rejuvenate your life with a Cabbage Soup. Cabbage Soup lets you heal between pulls, and you are going to be very aggressively chain pulling non-stop. You won't run out of mana with this build. Alright. Now for the potion, if you're trying to unlock Slayer and you get real close, switch to Invisibility. The reason why is that if someone invades you and they start chasing you, you can run through mobs as long as your attacker has not hit you yet. And you can run through mobs. Mobs are going to chip down your HP to very, very low, like 5% health, right? You pop your Invisibility potion, and you just chill while invisible. Your Cabbage Soup will heal you back to full life, and if your opponent pursues you, he's now being beaten up by several mobs, and it gives you a free kill. For your offhand, the Tome of Spells is usually the cheapest on the market, but also it gives you this cast time modifier, and the reason why we use this besides being the cheapest is it will hasten your E spell to the point where you can cast this in between boss attacks and still be able to dodge. If you do not have the book, and you cast Death Curse on a boss, while they're in the middle of casting an AoE attack, you will be hit by that attack. So it saves you tons and tons of HP, okay? Yes, of course, if you want a faster build, you would use Cultist Cowl, Cultist Boots, and a Crypt Candle, but it's not that much faster. It's like maybe 10 to 15 seconds faster for 300,000 additional silver. This build here, the weapon, is worth 33,000. The armor, 5,000. 2,000. The cape is 2,000. Offhand, 1,700. Boots, 2,000. Okay, the food's 3,000, the potions 1,000, invisibility potions 11,000. The mule is 7,000. Okay, this is a mega turbo ultra super cheap build, and this is going to be one of the fastest ways to clear a corrupted dungeon. As a matter of fact, if you are a channel member, if you want to be a channel member, you can click the join button down below this video. $5 a month. Channel members actually got this 3 months ago, and it looks like this. This is a members-only video. You can't watch this unless you're a channel member. And yeah, 3 months ago. It's very cool stuff. It's very worth becoming a channel member. It's been 3 months. I thought I'd give you guys, you know, just a little taste of what members get, okay, for videos. But with that said, I want to talk about a slightly budgeted version, and that is the same thing. It's the Cursed Staff. Okay, so let me type Cursed Staff, and you just grab a tier 5, okay? You grab the tier 5, and you will use Armor Piercer instead of the Channeled Beam. You still get Cursed Heart at tier 5. This is only worth 10,000 instead of the usual 33,000, so you're paying 2/3 less amount of money, but it is slower. It is much slower than the tier 6. I go with tier 6. It's worth the speed boost. It makes things super easy. Okay, now there is also another build that is just as fast, and that is a light crossbow build. However, there are 2 problems with this build. The very first problem is that it will cramp the absolute heck out of your hands. It is slightly faster and cheaper than the Cursed Staff build. However, this thing requires an insane amount of button pushes, whereas the Cursed Staff one is super laid back, easy, and lazy mode. This one requires your full focus. You can't watch anime while using this build, and you also can't really run away from gankers. So if you're invaded, you're pretty much you're forced to fight. It's basically do or die. You won't be able to escape with this build most of the time. But my problem is that after about 2 hours of using this build without breaks, my hand cramps up incredibly bad because you are hitting a lot of buttons and it requires a lot of your attention and brain power. But let me talk about it, okay? For your weapon, you have the light crossbow, and you'll be using explosive bolt and caltrops. Server shuts down intimidates with the second passive, which resets your Q ability. And the way this works is you're going to use all of your other abilities until you have 3 stacks, and then you can double cast your Q spell. If you have no other spells available, you will use Q to stack it up to 3. Okay? So, what spells do we have to use? For the helmet, the Stalker Hood, you're going to be using the Mortal Agony spell, which has a 15-second cooldown. Now, the great thing about this is it armor shreds if enemies are below 50% life. It also gives you a damage boost. It's great. Druid Robe, you're going to be using Obsessive Burst for, you guessed it, more damage, okay? When this thing will stack up to 6 incredibly fast, and it deals so much damage. Scholar Sandals, you're going to be using Energetic Sprint, okay? And the reason why you're going to be using this is because this build has mana problems. And without these boots, you will run out of mana, okay? It has a low cooldown, and it gives you a decent amount of mana, so you can just cast it during combat. Unfortunately, the focused run, you have to channel it, so you can't cast other spells while this is going. You could switch to this if you're invaded. It is slightly better, but for the most part, just use Energetic Sprint, okay? And your offhand, you need an Eye of Secrets. This will give you more energy and energy regeneration, which is very vital to this build, okay? Without it, you go out of mana and you'll waste time. Cabbage Soup. I tried the soup that heals you and gives you mana, but unfortunately it didn't heal fast enough. So you really need Cabbage Soup. I wouldn't even use the Dangle Mouth. Use the Cabbage Soup. It heals you for more. You're going to need it. And for potions, you can bring energy potions because you're going to have mana problems. Otherwise, you can just bring a healing potion, whatever potion you want, really. So this is this is the fastest build, but and it's also the cheapest. However, it cramps the hell out of your hand, and if you're going for Slayer, you will be invaded and killed with this build, unless you kill your attacker. You can't really escape, so you'll lose an hour and 20. For me, when I was at 90,000, infamy, and I would die, I would lose over 9,000 infamy, which is about 1 hour and 20 minutes of speedrunning. More about that later. But that's the other build. Alright, I want to show you what this build looks like. This is the crossbow build, so you can see at the top left corner of my buff window, every time that that little number is a 3, that means I can shoot 2 Q spells in a row, and look how much damage it does. So you basically just spam every ability on your hotbar to build that number up to 3. But you want to make sure that your Q is off cooldown by the time it hits 3. Also, the great thing about this build is it can sometimes it can one-shot the flying imps. In this video, it didn't for some reason. I think it was the quality of my crossbow, but you can one-shot them. I've done it many times. I don't know why these in particular survived with 1 HP. Just some weird IP calculation or something. I don't know. But either way, with Druid Robe buff, you can definitely one-shot them anyway. So basically, you just, like I said, you spam every ability, and they die super duper quick. You weave auto attacks in between, and for bosses, it's pretty much the same thing. Alright, so let's watch a boss fight now. I'm charging up to 3, so I can open with a double Q. I'm just spamming every ability you can see, and you can see almost every time I Q him, I'm getting at least 2 of those off at a time. And remember, I'm not using a Caerleon cape or anything because I'm cheap. You know, those things are expensive, and I want to go budget mode. This build is like 35,000 silver. It's mega cheap, and it's the fastest, but look at how many buttons I'm having to push. I just tank this attack because it doesn't matter, because the boss is going to die ridiculously fast. Like, he is already dead in like under 30-ish seconds. And then we just collect the loot from the chest, and it's a good one. Now, before we go to the budget version of the Cursed Staff, I want to talk about being efficient with your routes, okay? As soon as you enter the Corrupted Dungeon, open your map and see where the bosses are. The boss tiles are, there's one here, there's one here, and there's one there, and then the main boss is going to spawn right in here. So what you want to do is you want to find a path with as many of these little red dots as possible so you can kill them before you're invaded, because if you make this number reach 500, an invasion can't occur, to my knowledge, right? So what you also want to do, though, is save, like, if this empty space here is near another boss, but it's far away, you want to save that for last, because you can clear, like, a big line of mobs while getting some of the bosses along the way, and then when you spawn the boss, you can kill the boss, and then you can kill the last little mini-boss on the side, because now you don't have to be in the boss room to go to the next level. You can just push A and go to the next level from there. So there you go. Now for the budget version of this build, an easy way to kill solo enemies is you hit them with a curse and a puddle, and they will die no matter what. For the flying imps, you hit them with a puddle, they die no matter what. For bosses, you just rotate your puddle, your death curse, you hit your armor-piercing laser. You can armor pierce them before the curse explosion. It doesn't do that much more damage for whatever reason, because you're not shedding that much armor off of them due to your low IP caps. But even then, it's still, like, just spam your abilities. Every time they're off cooldown, cast a Q, cast a W, cast an E. And there you go. This is the budget version. Obviously, you could build up your Druid Robe if you want. But the bosses melt extremely super duper fast. And you want to kite the boss near the chest before he dies so that you can loot faster. Just simple tips. So the great thing about this build is that you can hurt the boss as you move. You put a puddle under them and you can dodge all of their attacks. And you can dodge their attacks while they're still cursed with 4 stacks, still taking damage. And you just drop a puddle whenever it's convenient. You don't have to drop your death curse stack while they're casting AoEs, that you can dodge it first. You just throw puddles after every curse explosion to restack those curses back up to 4. Hit your, piercing laser if you want, or save it for your curse explosion. When the boss is half health, hit your Stalker Hood to shred more armor so that your curse deals more tick damage. It's really super brain dead and easy to play, and there you go. It's really simple. Alright, now we have the less budget version. This has the channeling curse. Just grab as many enemies as you can, put puddles under them, and you can kill a single target beefy one with the curse explosion. You can also kill just enemies with your cursed beam attack. So you put a puddle under them, and then you just push W on them, and they will melt immediately. It's super duper quick to kill everything in a corrupted dungeon with the W spell if they have a cursed puddle under them. You can grab like 6 dogs and melt them in like 2 ticks. It's really, really insane. And even fighting bosses with this build, you just cast your W spell in between their channeled abilities that you've already pre-dodged. Now for the doggos, you know, once you get 4 curses on them, they're basically dead, or 3 curses and some autos. For the beefier, like little demonic sorcerer here, you just curse them and then let the explosion do its damage, and then finish them off with autos. I'm using the first passive on the curse weapon because it's an AoE explosion. Bosses, same deal, you just puddle, you curse, you hit them with the E spell. Once they do any kind of channeled attack, you just hit them with that W, which here I've got to do some dodging. So remember, when you cast W, you're rooted, you're channeling. So like, here's a good time to do it. I dropped a puddle. Right after dropping a puddle, hit them with that W. And here I take a hit. It's fine because we have boots that will heal us. We have plenty of defensives. Just throw puddles, auto attack, weave, hit that W. They die incredibly fast. And look, that's 180,000. It's super good, easy, fast loot. And this build is only like 60,000 silver or something. Or I think it's like 55,000 actually. Alright, here's my final notes for all of this, okay? Dungeon clears per 30 minutes is 4, so you can do 8 an hour. The average infamy you earn per clear is 895, okay? And that's not per 30 minutes, not per hour. 895 infamy per dungeon clear. The time it takes to get to 100,000 infamy if you never kill another player is 14 hours. You lose around 9,000 infamy, or 1 hour and 20 minutes of real time. Your average silver per hour doing this is anywhere from 600,000 to 1.4 million in Stalker Corrupted Dungeons. Not Hunter, but Stalker, okay? The times that I was invaded was twice, because I was playing on a weekend and during prime time, which is a bad idea. When I play during off hours, during the weekday, during work days, I never ever get invaded. Okay? Those 2 invasions, again, were just within the 7 hours of playtime. Not bad. And they were immediately invaded. It wasn't like, you know, I was being slow clearing the dungeon. It was, I entered the dungeon and it immediately turns red. Like, oh, what the hell? So the time to lock the dungeon from invasions, that is to go from 0 to 500 infamy by killing mobs, was anywhere as fast as 3 minutes and 50 seconds to 5 minutes. Alright? There was one run where I did 3 minutes, 30 seconds, but that was just a miracle run, okay? The time to defeat all of the bosses and do the full run was around 6 or 7 minutes on this build. So you basically get 4 runs per food buff, and it takes 3 to 4 runs to fill up your bags. I found that I die less often returning home if I go from a Caerleon red zone rather than a black zone. Also, loot sells for more in Caerleon than Portal Towns. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm SoulBingy, thanks for watching. As always, be a bro and stay swole. Please leave a like, it really helps out. I read every single comment because I have no life. And I make videos every single day, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss tomorrow's video. On the screen right now is a video that you should absolutely click. If you want to join my guild or play with me, there's a link in the description to a Discord. So there you go. With that said, I will see you in tomorrow's video. Take care, lads. Mwah.